Is it possible to enter the very substance itself? For your five senses act like five husbands who constantly impregnate your consciousness. Your I am, which is the great womb of God, and morning, noon, and night they suggest to you and dictate to you that which you must accept as true. He tells you the one you would like to have for your husband is not your husband. In other words, the sixth has not yet impregnated you. What you would like to be is denied by these five, and they hold the power. They dictate what you will accept as true. What you would like to accept has not yet penetrated your mind and impregnated your mind with its reality. He whom you call husband is really not your husband. You are not bearing his likeness. To bear his likeness is proof that you are his wifeness. It proof that you are his wife. At least you have known him intimately. You are not bearing the likeness of the sixth. You are only bearing the likeness of the five. Then one turns to me and tells me all that I have ever known. I go back in my mind's eye, and reason tells me that all through my life, I've always accepted the limitations of my senses. I have always looked upon them as fact. And morning, noon, and night, I have borne witness to this acceptance. Reason tells me I have only known these five from the time I was born. Now, I would like to step outside the limitation of my senses, but I have not yet found within myself the courage to assume I am what these five would deny that I am. So here I remain, conscious of my task, but without the courage to step beyond the limitations of my senses and that which my reason denies. It is on the soul or substance side of consciousness that ideas are identified, that is, named. Whatever we recognize a thing to be, that it becomes to us because of the naming power vested in man, wisdom. Every beast of the field and the cattle represent ideas of strength, power, vitality, and life. These ideas must be recognized by the I am before they can be formed. The birds of the heavens represent free thoughts and the interchange between the subconscious and the conscious activities of mind. Man has power to name all ideas that are presented to his conscious mind, whether they come from within or without. As you progress along the path, be not hindered by words, actions, thoughts, or deeds of others. Realize that the perfect is. I am that I am, that I am, and cannot be made more perfect. But the outer, you should respond to the inner. Be ye perfect, as your Father in heaven is perfect. The I am within each is the Christ of God manifesting in humanity, and when this is realized fully by all, the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man will be established upon earth. Then and then only will we have supreme happiness. This rests with man, not with God. God has already established this for man, and man has only to accept it by acting according to the law of God. These words and sayings will affect each and every one of you according to your enlightenment. The I am within is your teacher and will present to your personal consciousness the message for the moment. The universal mind is the self-conscious, self-knowing, purposeful activity of spirit. It is at work everywhere and in everything. Even the lowest forms of life reveal the omnipresent mind at work. The lowest form of independent life is a perfect model in miniature of our modern submarine. As it inflates and deflates its body in order to rise and sink in the water, it betrays a wonderful intelligence. The spider and the bee show engineering skill that is amazing. The dahlia knows that it must store up starch for the winter while it is growing in the summer. Mind is at work everywhere. It becomes the consciousness of whatever it contacts. The tree, flower, and blade of grass are alive with the consciousness and substance of the universal mind of God. It is the color, perfume, life, and beauty of everything that is. It is the medium through which man comes ultimately to know the truth. Spiritual energy comes from within. The I am is the source of divine energy. It flows through the consciousness of man as an impersonal, silent, and omnipresent power. Through his sole, subjective mind, man makes his conscious approach to the universal mind. To be conscious of it is to be in vital touch with it, to give it conscious direction in body and affairs. Mind meets us at the level of our own understanding and manifests according to our consciousness. Since it cannot give us more than we can receive, we must be consciously receptive to it. Our work in the silence is dynamic, the results differing according to our various states of consciousness. I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. Read these words carefully. They are not my words. They are the inspired words of men who discovered that consciousness is the only reality. If I am hurt, I am self-hurt. If there is darkness in my world, I created the darkness and the gloom and the depression. If there is light and joy, I created the light and the joy. I created the light and the joy. There is no one but this I amness that does all. You cannot find a cause outside of your own consciousness. Your world is a grand mirror constantly telling you who you are. As you meet people, they tell you by their behavior who you are. Your prayers will not be less devout because you turn to your own consciousness for help. I do not think that any person in prayer feels more of the joy, the piety, and the feeling of adoration than I do when I feel thankful, as I assume the feeling of my wish fulfilled, knowing at the same time it is to myself that I turned. In prayer, you are called upon to believe that you possess what your reason and your senses deny. When you pray, believe that you have, and you shall receive. I am the Father of the living, not the dead. Jesus made this so plain to his disciples, and it is the same today as it was yesterday and will be the same tomorrow. As the evolutionary process of the great human family progresses, so the various senses that are at present dormant will come to life. When this body is more spiritualized, the I am, which is the consciousness in the substance, will bring them forth, for they are already there. Spirit is all. Then you will see the so-called dead. It is to consciousness, I am, that we must turn as to the only reality, for there is no clear conception of the origin of phenomena, except that consciousness is all and all is consciousness. You need no helper to bring you what you seek. Do not for 1 second believe that I am advocating escape from reality when I ask you to simply assume you are now the man or the lady that you want to be. If you and I could feel what it would be like were we now that which we want to be and live in this mental atmosphere as though it were real, then, in a way, we do not know our assumption would harden into fact. This is all we need do in order to ascend to the level where our assumption is already an objective, concrete reality. Give us this day our daily bread. The bread spoken of here refers not alone to food, clothing, and money, but to the bread of life. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. The law of increase is in the word. I am is the active agent of creation. It externalizes itself in the substance that coexists with it. I am the bread of life. Give us this day our daily bread. These words literally mean to you, I am positive to the substance of the I am here and now. I am receptive to it. My needs are met. The word give is a command to substance. You are not begging, pleading, or beseeching. You are affirming the truth, identifying yourself with it, and accepting it. We must not bring forth untrue expressions. This is what the majority of people are doing every day by their thoughts, words, and actions. Even a word that is unkind is an untrue expression. Do you know what a word really means? Do you know that sound has color and form? That every form has a color and sound? That every audible sound has an invisible color, every visible color an inaudible sound? Even our thoughts have form, color, and sound. You have formed the outer expression, but the inner also exists. Realize what your thoughts, words, and actions mean. When you understand the power of expression and know the truth, your knowledge adds power to your word and thought. The I am creates in the invisible world by the voice and by the thoughts. Even in the silence, we create sound, form, and color. Now, it is absolutely impossible for you to make this power do anything. You cannot, by sheer force of will, bend this power to suit your needs. You are not greater than God. You cannot either stop or start this power in its creating, for it is greater than you are and it moves according to law. You cannot say, I am going to make money with all the determination and ferociousness you can muster, and expect that you are creating in your experience anything other than belligerence and opposition. You've got to accept, not demand. You can't will anything. This does not mean a doctrine of resignation. Far from it. It simply means that you recognize that it is not you who does the creating. It is a power greater than you are. This power creates what you believe and manifests to you what you are prepared to accept. I am that power. Where the consciousness, your I am, is placed, you do not have to take the physical body. It gravitates there in spite of you. Things happen to compel you to move in the direction where you are consciously dwelling. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. The many mansions are the unnumbered states within your mind, for you are the house of God. In my Father's house are unnumbered concepts of self. You could not, in eternity, exhaust what you are capable of being. If I sit quietly here and assume that I am elsewhere, I have gone and prepared a place. But if I open my eyes, the bilocation which I created vanishes, and I am back here in the physical form that I left behind me as I went to prepare a place. But I prepared the place nevertheless, and will in time dwell there physically. You do not have to concern yourself with the ways and the means that will be employed to move you across space into that place where you have gone and mentally prepared it. Simply sit quietly no matter where you are, and mentally actualize it. No matter what concepts you hold of yourself, it is a limitation. The truth is not a concept. Dissolve away all limitations. Dissolve away all limitations. Dissolve away all crystallized concepts of reality, and let yourself be, I am that I am. Behold, I am he that should come, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. The presence that will finally rule our lives is now offering a full salvation through our consciousness. But flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom. Whilst we are at home in the body, material thought, we are absent from the Lord. All flesh must be spiritualized. We must surrender all ideas of bondage. Our senses are really God's senses. When we realize this, we cannot have poor eyesight, poor hearing, poor health, or poor anything. I am sees through our eyes, hears through our ears, thinks through our minds, works through our bodies. He is all in all. I am declares health and power in every corpuscle, every vein, every cell, every nerve, and every atom of the body, saying unto them, Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. I am will fill the body to overflowing with divine power and health. For I am is within every cell, and every cell is alive with the universal substance of I am. Like the writer who authors a story, each of us authors his own life by his choice of what thoughts he will accept and which he will reject. Each of our lives is a story unfolded by the silent, contemplative author who dwells within us, who does nothing more than accept and reject, who is involved only in making choices. This indwelling self says, this is so, this is not so. I believe this. I feel fine in this circumstance. I feel badly in this circumstance. I am great. I am nothing. There is hope. There is hope. There is despair. And each of these choices is manifested in the physical world. There is no one thing which will give a timid soul such assurance, which will so brace up one who is inclined to depreciate and deface himself as the constant affirmation of the I am. I am courage. I am health, vigor, strength. I am power. I am peace. I am plenty. I am a part of abundance because I am one with the very source of infinite supply. I am rich because I am heir to all the resources of the universe. Stoutly, constantly, everlastingly affirm that you will become what your ambitions indicate as fitting and possible. Do not say I shall be a success sometime. Say I am a success sometime. Say I am a success. Success is my birthright. Do not say that you are going to be happy in the future. Say to yourself, I was intended for happiness, made for it, and I am happy. God, the Father of all life, is in you. Being all imagination, your true name is I am. And besides you, there is no other God. So I tell you, unless you believe I am He, you will die in your sins in the sense that you will continue missing the mark. You must assume that you are now the man, the woman you want to be, and persist in that assumption, for there is no other way for you to be it, as there is only God, imagination. In this world, spirit knows itself. God, I am, speaks, and it is done. But if God speaks, his word must be law. The word of God is also the law of God. God is word, God is law, and God is law, and God is spirit. This is self-evident. We arrive at the conclusion that God, as spirit, is self-conscious life. That spirit is conscious is proven by the fact that we have evidence of this consciousness strewn through all time and space. God must know that God is. This is the inner meaning of the teaching of the I am, handed down from antiquity. The spirit is the power that knows itself, is one of the oldest sayings of time. Since I am as I think I am, I have heretofore lived the slave of conditions and subject of environment because God and I were two, but now, no longer separated. The prodigal has arisen and come home to the Father, and in unity found power, and in this realization has conquered disease and death, and chanting, I and my Father are one, He has taken heaven by violence, and, planting its love and truth upon earth, made all the promised heaven here and now. Matter and body cannot create because they are effects. They can only manifest the energy infused into them by their cause. Vitality is not a material force. It is spiritual force. Vitality is cause. Vitality is the creative energy of the love and intelligence of the I Am, which holds in its embrace every atom of sentient substance. It is the vitality of the infinite mind that we see manifesting in bird and beast, tree and flower, and this same vitality is at this moment giving you all the life that you have, and the infinite mind can give you as much as you can individualize and express. Your lack of knowledge of the possibilities of your own nature keeps you from growing out of your weak or sickly condition. Knowledge is power. Man knows intuitively that he is God's supreme creation, and that dominion and power are his, though he does not understand fully. The I Am of him ever recognizes the one divine source from which he sprang, and he turns to it, endeavoring to fathom its wonderful secrets. It is done unto you as you believe. We limit the expression of the I Am through our belief in limitation. The divine law will produce anything we choose. It will produce prosperity instead of poverty, instead of sickness. The law is, but it must be definitely specialized. Until we specialize it, it is only a latent possibility. Through this law, we set the principle in which we live in motion. When we do not use the law consciously and constructively, we are using it unconsciously, and instructively, we are using it unconsciously, and it may be destructively. Prayer is the mental act through which we specialize the law for specific purposes. In the silence, we are responsive to the law. Silence